Yeah, welcome back to Ecosummit.
Good to see you, Jan. Thank you very much. Okay, so I have been here quite a few times. So today I'm going to talk about a topic which is very important for Sunfire from a strategic perspective. What I'm going to talk about is how hydrogen and sector coupling are combined to each other, or what they have to do with each other, and why we are standing in front of the biggest hydrogen opportunity that ever has been there. My name is Nils Aldag. I'm a co-founder of Sunfire. And quickly a few words regarding our company. Sunfire is positioning itself as the global leader in the field of sectorial integration. Sunfire commercializes highly efficient fuel cells and electrolyzers for the production of renewable gases, fuels, power and heat. And the core platform technology that we use in all our products is the so-called solid oxide cell. You all know our investors, so I will skip them. I think most of them are sitting here in the room. We are, at the moment, 90 people with 43 patents. We have received a multitude of awards over the time and are realizing multi-million euro revenues since 2011. Very briefly regarding our product portfolio, like I said, the solid oxide core is the heart of all our products. We have sold fuel cells, hundreds of fuel cells in the past years to the residential sector, and we're also selling to commercial buildings. We have a very nice product line that is going to off-grid markets, where we power equipment that is far away from regular electrical grids. That's the fuel cell side, which I'm not going to talk about too much today. And then there is the electrolysis side, which you see on the right side. On the one hand, on the top, the production of hydrogen for refineries and steel plants, and we have some nice projects going on there. One picture you see here, it's real hardware. It's an electrolyzer that we are going to install at the steel plant in Salzgitter in the summer of this year. And then at the bottom, another electrolyzer that is used to produce gases and fuels, for example, for mobility, a project that we did with Boeing. Now, as I said, I'm not going to talk too much about Sunfire itself. What I want to talk about is why is hydrogen going to be big in the coming years? So why now? If we look at the energy world overall, you see that electricity is not all. Besides electricity, there's also the oil sector, and there's also the gas sector. In total, in Germany, it's about 2,000 terawatt hours, and in terms of the percentages, it's the same if you look to Europe or other Western nations. Electricity is always roughly a quarter of the energy that we consume, whereas oil and gas is about 75% of the energy we consume. And while we have been able to develop as a society technologies like photovoltaics or wind power and have gotten prices down to a competitive level with fossils, we have practically no solutions for the oil and gas sector. Okay? So we have great achievements in the electrical sector, but it's only a minor fraction of the energy we need or we use. And then we have the big oil and gas market that serves to chemicals, to mobility, to heating and cooling, and we have almost zero renewable technologies for this. If you sum it up, the entire energy need that we have, the 2,000 terawatt hours, you see that it will be very, very hard to achieve our 2030 target of 30% renewable energy consumption of 30% renewable energy consumption and 60% in 2050. Now, another problem that relates to this issue is the fact that we have a seasonal problem with solar and wind. This behind me is live data from the 1st of January to the 15th of February, and it shows to you in orange, the bottom line, how much electricity was available from photovoltaics and wind. The red line is the consumption we had in the electrical sector. This is with barely any electrical cars driving on our roads today and only a little amount of electrical heaters installed. And then the top line, which looks like the end of the graph on the top, the gray one, is how much installed capacity we had. So in the wintertime, we have a factor of 9 between what is installed in terms of photovoltaics and wind power and what is actually available because there is sun or wind. And I don't want to spoil the game. I'm going to show how we're going to solve this problem. But if you think that we can just take the mobility sector and turn 47 million cars, which I learned today, 47 million cars into electric cars, it's not going to work. If we are taking all the heating systems, there are millions in Germany, and we electrify them all, it's not going to work. So the electrification of everything has to happen differently, and that's going to be sector coupling. Now, the other reason why sector coupling has to happen is because without solutions for the oil and gas sector, we will miss our CO2 targets. And what I call the league table of CO2 emissions, the European league table of CO2 emissions shows that we are in Germany, unfortunately, not doing a very good job yet. This has to do with the coal in our system, which we are going to get rid of, but this also has to do with the lack of solutions for the oil and gas sector. Now, what is sectoral integration? Sectoral integration means that you integrate the power sector with the oil and gas sector via a vector called hydrogen. So from electricity, you produce hydrogen, which you can use directly. There is a hydrogen fueling station right outside of this location here, but that's maybe a bit more for the future. But what you can also do is you can take the hydrogen and inject it into refineries, into the gas grid, into our existing infrastructure to replace hydrogen that is currently being put there on a fossil basis. And the trick is to buy the electricity from renewable sources via power purchase agreements, fix a price for 20 years, so you have a contract that both sides can live with, take the electricity via the grid, pay the full price for it, it's very important, transform it into hydrogen and sell the hydrogen to someone who needs it today and wants it to be green in the future. So how does it look like in practice? You can integrate this into the existing refinery and chemicals industry. That's the block in the middle. What happens today is that crude oil is being put into a refinery, and to get to diesel, gasoline, jet fuel, or the 3 million other products that we produce in refineries, we are cracking the crude oil, and we are adding fossil hydrogen to close the gaps that occur. And already today, we are using more than 100,000 tons of fossil hydrogen in refineries to do this. Now, and that's a topic that we're discussing very intensively in Brussels with the European Commission, and they like the idea. The suggestion is, instead of putting a biofuel at the end of the process, just replace the fossil hydrogen that we're putting at the moment in the beginning of the process. And do this with sector coupling, so buying renewable electricity from wind or solar, converting it into hydrogen, and with this bringing the renewable content into the oil and gas sector. We have, together with the EU, calculated the potential in refineries in Europe, and we see that it's more than 10 gigawatts. So it's more than the entire amount of nuclear power plants installed in Germany is the demand for electrolysis if this would go live, and we're working on that. And the other good thing is that hydrogen has already reached so-called biofuel parity. So is close to reaching it. So there will be no additional costs for the customer because the production of the hydrogen costs the same as the production of a biofuel. So you can just do one or the other. For the customer, it doesn't change much. Now, there are different technologies to do this. And why have we chosen the so-called steam electrolysis? The three technologies that exist are so-called alkaline electrolyzers, PEM electrolyzers, both common technologies that you can buy on the market, some of them even with guarantees and all the stuff you need for a commercial plant. And the third one is the so-called steam electrolysis, which we are developing now. And a steam electrolysis could use the heat from a refinery or from another chemical process, and with this significantly boost the efficiency of the process. So that's the first big advantage. The second one is tolerance to carbon. I'm not going to talk about this now. The third one is the fact that it's much more flexible than people thought in the past. And the combination of those three aspects mean that the total cost of ownership of the hydrogen we produce is competitive with other technologies. Since our first pitch here in 2012, where I could hold the stacks that we were testing in my hand now, we have reached now a level where we're selling 300 kilowatt units to OEMs or to refineries and steel plants. So if I would bring a product now, I would have a 40-foot container standing behind me packed with electrolysis. And we expect that in 2018, we will go to the megawatt class. So since I have 20 seconds left to summarize what I wanted to say, Sunfire is a strong partner for sectoral integration with hydrogen, and hydrogen is coming. The energy system as it is today requires sectoral integration to achieve the targets that we have set. The initial market size in Europe alone is over 10 gigawatts, so we're standing in front of a huge market. Steam electrolysis will be the superior choice in refineries, in steel production, in chemical plants. And Sunfire is an attractive opportunity for those who haven't started with sectoral integration, but see that there is a need to do this. And we're looking for partnerships in that field of any type. So feel free to approach me here. I'd be happy to discuss this in more detail. Thanks.